Here we go. We are on the Wayne Coito show right now. I almost forgot what show this was. I didn't have a show last week. I apologize for that. But I'm back here this week, guys. We're talking UH football. We're also talking Veterans Day. It's Veterans Day for those of you who are celebrating. And I'm celebrating with this guy right here next to me, my grandfather, 88 years young. So we're going to talk about him a little bit. But we're also going to talk about Hawaii football, and of course bringing our friends on Facebook as well. So let's go to Facebook and bringing our friends on Facebook Live, welcoming them in on a beautiful Veterans Day here in the islands. And I'm coming to you from Mililani, and coming to you on a beautiful Hawaiian day. A little bit overcast, a little bit of wind, actually a bit of wind right now, but it's been a beautiful day to celebrate our veterans, to celebrate the people around us who inspire us, the people around us who continue to provide that support for us, even when they have seen so much themselves in their lives, and for those who have gone to battle, for those like my friend Brad, who I bring on here a lot. Happy Veterans Day to him. Whether young or old, we have veterans of all ages, of all sizes, of all races, and that's so important as well, to think about the contributions of all veterans from all walks of life. We talk about the Tuskegee Airmen, we talk about the Go for Broke guys, and those are the ones that really inspire so many of us, people of color, and also those who maybe have come into the country later in their lives as immigrants. Not everybody was born in this country. Some are fighting in the military that aren't even citizens. So celebrate all of them today. But I want to celebrate a certain guy in particular. This guy right here. That's my grandfather. This morning I got to walk with him, like I do a lot. And when I'm home, at least, because he's here now and in Hawaii, and he's been really inspired to keep his. I don't know what this guy is, 88-year-old machine, but just like his bows. I know he's wearing a BYU shirt, which is kind of confusing right now, but I'm sure that was a gift from one of our relatives. No, he is the reason I became, him and my grandmother, who I talk about so often on this show, are the reason that I'm the huge UH fans that I am, the UH fan that I am, and they are the UH fans that I'm inspired the most by the way that they've always supported this team, by the way that they've, inspired me. By their season tickets when they were, they used to take me, and I used to sit on their lap and make confetti and all kind in the stadium. But my grandfather, a Korea War veteran, Vietnam veteran, stationed all over the country. Of course, back in Hawaii, has been all over the world, but it's great to have him. Inspired me this morning. So I call it the Veterans Day Mile. He was just like, whatever, I'm going to do my daily walk. But I just asked him, come on, you want to do a mile? You want to do a mile? And, this guy kind of pushes himself. So I was really impressed by all of the work that he put in. But also, all of the, the years that he's put in to his body and to, doing what he's wanted to do. And I'm super inspired by that. So I just wanted to play that video. So inspiring Veterans Day video. Veterans, get out there, continue to support, continue to be vibrant members of our community that people look up to, that people can be inspired by. So my grandfather is definitely one of those people as well. So thanks, Grandpa. Mahalo, and mahalo for your service, and mahalo for making me a huge UH football fan, because he's the reason I am the way that I am. But aloha to all our veterans out there as well. All right, let's talk about this UH football game. I would have a vlog usually, but last week, the game in New Mexico, I wasn't, or Hawaii sports fans wasn't granted media access, so there will be no vlog from the New Mexico game. But, that game was a great game to have, our team get that win. It was a really important win. Again, we start off rocky. If you noticed in the beginning of the game, New Mexico literally. So, like I said, for me, I watched the game on television, and I can't say that this is the first time I've been able to say that in 5 years, because literally the last time I watched the game on TV was October of 2015, because I'm usually at the game. So that was weird for me not to be able to be there at the games. I'm going to be honest. Would have been nice at my 63rd straight game. It is weird. I am a fan. First of all, I'm a fan. So if no fans are allowed, then hey, fans can't be there. Hawaii sports fans, I think we're providing great service, great coverage, and I think great media coverage as well. So if you think this is something that that is our content is worthy of your time and of helping to build this program, definitely leave us a shout out, leave us a like, a comment, share videos, share what you like, because I think it's going to be really important as we move forward with what we're doing here at Hawaii Sports Fans, that we continue to leverage all of you and your support, and hopefully, we won't have to worry about not being able to be into too many games. But unfortunately, New Mexico, I was not there. Yes, it was a little weird. I did have to watch the game at home, but it was cool. I got to watch it with my grandfather, so the guy that you just saw. And I don't get to do that very often, watch games with him at all. And he hasn't come to a game in a long time. I don't remember the last game he's been to, so maybe we'll get him at a game. I was just talking to my cousin who's a pitcher at UH Hilo. They're going to play UH Manoa, actually, baseball. And, I told my cousin will be able my grandfather will be able to see him pitch, so that'd be cool. It'll be against the Bows, so it'd be kind of crazy, right? But as some of you know, I'm also Pac West TV, Pac West Conference Division II. That's something I've been doing for over a decade, so I'm a Division II person. I'm just a lover of all college teams in Hawaii. But I gotta shout out my Pac West school, Chaminade, Hawaii Pacific, and of course UH Hilo, who will be coming to visit UH Manoa in baseball. So I'm excited for that. My cousin, Kikahi Haina, and other cousin, Isaac Haina, who's also redshirting, I believe redshirting this year, also there in Hilo. So my grandfather's got his progeny all over the place, doing things with sports, and that's really exciting, and I know really exciting for him. And speaking of my cousin, Kikahi Haina, one of his teammates at St. Louis, where he played baseball and football, his quarterback was, of course, none other than Chevin Cordero. And let's talk about, the game that Chevin had against New Mexico. He definitely, the demons were kind of woken, right? People were talking like, let's air it out. Let's see what we can do. And this offense has looked different. I'm going to be honest, from Fresno to Wyoming to last week. It has shifted. And I'm not a coach, and neither am one of the players. But I know that you got to adjust for whatever the other team's giving you. You got to adjust for obviously the weather or the elements. Wyoming, I think, caused a lot of those. I definitely believe that Wyoming game, had that game not been played, and this is not an excuse, but that was a tough game, for the team. So to be able to be 2-1 at this point is excellent. New Mexico came in and scored a touchdown, literally 14-19 in the game, 3 plays, 65 yards, a Jordan Crest 52-yard pass. Reception from Tevaka Tsuyote. So, New Mexico jumping on the board right away. I literally walked into the kitchen. So back to the fact that I was home and not at the game, which is weird. I literally went to the kitchen to grab something, and then my mom was like, New Mexico just scored. I was like, no way. So, those things happen. But right off the bat, Chevin came back and had a 5-yard run on the next and 10-21. So, we brought that game back. I don't know if that was the immediate drive after. Was that? No. So, yes. So we got the ball back. Sorry. Whoa. This drive chart, if you look on the website, is so crazy. This drive chart that they have from the game. We stayed in the game. We kept it tight. We didn't let New Mexico get out of hand. And we railed it in, and we did what we do, and that was really fun to see. I know a lot of people were asking about, Coach and his style of offense and what he does that's different from our previous coaches, and we talked about that before in terms of the RPO stuff, the run pass option stuff. So we saw Chevin really getting into that. And Chevin. So speaking of Chevin, and we're going to talk about Chevin a little bit because the opponent. This coming week, San Diego State, Chevin has a history with them as well. Start dating back to last year. But in the back to New Mexico game, we saw Marner. He really showed up. We saw Zion Bowens. I that guy came out of nowhere to get 2 more touchdowns. So, well, we won't say out of nowhere. We heard his name. We've been hearing his name, but to see him have a breakout like that is great. It's starting to feel like you get some of that Dreadhead action slowly. But talking about Colt Brennan and his cachet of receivers, seems like Colt Chevin is going to be able to have that same luxury as these players start to develop. But Nick Martiner, definitely somebody that I think had a breakout. Zion Bowens definitely had a breakout. And when we talk about breaking, did somebody say breaking? Because I think Hawaii does something about breaking now. So. I love how coaches break this rock too. Boom. So cool tradition that we'll see now every day. Hopefully every game day. The breaking of the rock. But coach clearly inspiring these men by this tradition, and I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool that they have something like this to rally around. This is something that's rare. We talked about Pride Rock, with Coach Rolovich. So from Pride Rock to Rock Breakers, that's what we're talking about. So this is a new look, a new team, and definitely a new style and way of doing things. So you see the TTH, as you would see across some of like the shirts that they wear, TTH, or the hashtag TTH. So coach and his culture, Coach Rolovich brought in his his little symbolic phrases and everything to talk about, to inspire this team, to get them to see that responsibility that they have to this program. And I think Coach Graham, his style is just so different and so cool at the same time. It's something that we haven't had in Hawaii, right? We haven't had somebody do something crazy like break rocks after a game. So it is cool. And hopefully this week they'll be able to do that against San Diego State. But as you know, the last time the Bows played San Diego State, that was last year, and that was in the Mountain West Division final. And the winner of that game would go on to play Boise. And of course that was Hawaii. We beat San Diego State 14-11, and that was such a weird game. But if we go back to that game and how vital that game was, just given how the circumstances played out, right? We had lost to Fresno State, which made it look like, well, we're out of the driver's seat now. We're not going to be able to, make it to the Mountain West Championship now. It's too late, blah, blah, blah. Fresno State comes out, beats San Diego State, gives us a chance. And the way that the schedule worked out, we're playing San Diego State on November 23rd, and that's the de facto Mountain West Division title game. So this is last year. This is a game I said we should have had more people at. I'm never going to not say that, but we definitely should have had way more people at that game. That's the Fred Hawley score right there that you're seeing. That was his 11-yard run that he had. Matthew Sharsh. Shout out Jason Matthew Sharsh, who has also been apparently a good resource for games if you're friends with him on Facebook. Jason Matthew Sharsh, a great game, a great season, a guy that we definitely miss seeing on the field. Someone who could also always get open, it seemed like, super shifty, and we're just wishing him the best for the rest of his career and his family. We love his parents, they're the best as well, and his brother. Super fun people. So, but Jason Matthew Sharsh had a game last year. Fred Hawley with that touchdown on the third was the only score we had in the second half. So all it was just letting San Diego State. They scored with about 13 minutes left in the fourth, and it was just holding them to 14-11 victory. But in that game, Shevin came off the bench actually to rally the team, and in just the second possession of the second half, he had that 96-yard drive. So that Fred Hawley 11-yard score was after a 96-yard drive on 14 plays. I mean, just magical, almost going the entire field. And, you know, that's how legends are made right there, you know. And from there, Hawaii enters its way into the Mountain West Championship, plays Boise, and unfortunately doesn't come out with the Mountain West Championship. So this year is what the goal is. This is what the plan is from the beginning of this season, is that championship, right? 8 games. Thankfully, we've already been able to play 3 of 3. That's something we should also be grateful for, because there are teams not playing like Ohio State and Maryland, and teams that really need these games for maybe national championship hopes, you know, so they can't miss any games. So for us, 3 games, that's pretty good. 2-1, you know, and that's, I don't want to understate it. It's a really good way to start the season. Yes, Fresno ends up being a pretty good team, I think, but looks like every team is pretty good, and that's the scary part. So this weekend's game, Saturday's game, was going to be in Carson, California, the home of the Los Angeles Galaxy, Carson Galaxy. Call them Carson Galaxy. If you're an LAFC fan, we say Carson Galaxy, one of the biggest rivalries. Anyways, LA Galaxy of Major League Soccer, that's their home. And if you might remember, the Chargers played there last year as well, or for the last 3 years, while they're moving in as the second-rate tenant of SoFi, which is an interesting thing. Anyways, and but what's really cool is I didn't really think about this, but UH, actually, we've won 3 of their last 4 Mountain West regular season road games, which is crazy. I mean, that Wyoming game was a really tough game. So you throw out that Wyoming game, it's, you know, 3 out of 3. And 7-3 in the last 10. So before we would say, oh, we're going on the road and it's so scary and what's going to happen, I don't know. But this isn't just any road team. This is San Diego State. We go back to last time we played them on the road, however, in San Diego. One of the best games, one of the best nights of my life in San Diego. One of our favorite cities at Hawaii sports fans. We go there seemingly every year. It's our first city ever. And I love San Diego. I love the gas lamp. And I especially love when UH wins, especially in Qualcomm / Jack Murphy Stadium / that big hunk of steel and concrete in Mission Valley. And UH came out with a 31-30 overtime win in 2018. So we beat San Diego State in 2018 to snap a 6-game losing streak in the series, which is crazy. I mean, this is going to be the 35th time that these teams meet, 35 meetings, and SDSU leads 21-11-2. So they are definitely winning much more of these games, right? 60% of these games, 65% of these games. So it has kind of been a one-sided rivalry, but, you know, maybe things are changing because we beat them the last 2 times. But this SDSU team, just like seemingly every SDSU team, who have had the likes of Rashard Penny and, of course, Marshall Falk, one of the greatest running backs of all time, they ranked number 7 in rushing offense. So, you know, they're going to have all kinds of plays up their sleeve, and they got a great quarterback as well who can run. So the San Diego State team is going to be a tough one. You know, they average 265 yards per game, while UH, on the other hand, and we're rushing pretty well on the offensive side, but the defensive side, we're 107th, and we allow 226.7 yards per game. The Aztecs, on the other hand, on their defensive side, are number 2 in total defense. I mean, this is crazy. This is such a good team. 233 yards a game. Number 9 in scoring defense, 13.7 points per game. Number 4 in passing yards allowed, and number 12 in rushing yards allowed. I mean, that's all you got to say right there. But they did lose last week. But that San Jose State team they lost to, they're pretty good. So, I mean, I don't know if that's going to say much, but San Jose State is also 3-0 right now. First time they've been 3-0, I believe, since 1982, apparently. And I saw a cool video where after they came back from this game in San Diego or in Carson, so weird that we can't say in San Diego because they're in Carson, which is not close to San Diego. I mean, that's like far, like further than Santa Clara and San Fran. So, I mean, they're not even, they're far from each other. Just to give people, because it's weird that San Diego State I mean, maybe if they're playing in Orange County, which is still weird and still far, but now you're in LA County, that's like the whole Chargers. That's basically not San Diego, it's LA. But San Diego State, they played San Jose in LA, in Carson last week. San Jose on their way back home. Their baseball team at 2 in the morning was out there celebrating them coming home. And that was really cool, and that showed how proud their baseball team was. And you know, baseball boys, I don't know, I'm not going to do any, we already had so many baseball references in this show, but it's pretty cool to see those baseball players show up for their fellow Spartans. And you see lots of Paulies on that team too at San Jose, choke Paulie. So definitely this Mountain West is starting to look very Pacifica, and you know, that should be us, Hawaii. That's who we are. We're Polynesia. We're a Polynesians team. But San Diego State, so Jesse Andrews, is that his name? Sorry, I gotta go find his name. He's you know, a really good player. Of course, it sounds crazy, but I just say he's a really good player. But he is definitely, for San Diego State, they have an attack on the ground and in the air, and that's, you know, that's scary. Wyoming was very much the same, right? They had the ability to strike in the air, on the ground as well. So lots for the team to have to worry about when they play San Diego State. But this guy, good wide receiver, they're going to have to keep their eye on him. Jesse Andrews, right? Is his name? Sorry. I think I have good notes, but I don't have any notes. Like, literally everything's just coming from, because I have so many things in my brain going on at one time. But San Diego State team is really good. I said this about Wyoming when we did the show last time. I said this, you know, in terms of a team that dual attack. I mean, this is going to be a huge challenge for our defense. So our defense really is gonna be counted on a lot this game. On the other hand, we have averaged 36.5 points and 527 yards total per game in the 2 wins. So that was in the 2 wins. We would hope overall, but only 233 yards of total offense in the lone loss. So 233 yards of offense against Wyoming. So we can throw that game away. We say, okay, that's just an anomaly. Playing at 7,200 feet. It's so cold. I mean, just watching the game up there is cold, but it's hard to breathe. So, yeah, playing it. So, I'm not going to give all the excuses to the team, but that was a very, very tough game. So, we throw that game out. Look, this offense is clicking like nothing, right? Trevin had a crazy game, too. That was a weird game for him to have at Wyoming. I think his QBR was like 10.5 or something after that game. And that is just that's just a game you throw out. That's not a part of a pattern. That's just one of those games. But for Coach Graham, what he's going to be seeing across the sideline at him is a guy that's been there before, been at Michigan, coached at San Diego State, went to Michigan, now is back at San Diego State, and that's Brady Hoke. So these two guys are 2 of 6 actually new head coaches in the Mountain West. So there's 6 new head coaches this year in the conference. And Brady Hoke, like I said, coached the Aztecs previously from 2009 to 10. That's funny. I don't think we've ever had that happen. I believe never has happened in the UH program, which I wonder if that will ever happen. We always say that. Like, I always wonder if, you know, I'm not saying, you know, Coach Graham could be here forever, right? He could be our coach for like 40 years and, you know, whatever. You know, but that hasn't happened, right? We haven't had a coach super long. I think Joan Jones was 8 years. So, no, we haven't had a super long tenured coach in a long time. So, and we do have a little bit of turnover, but we've never had a coach come back. But Brady Hoke has come back to the Aztecs. They're both 13-year veteran coaches, Todd Graham and Brady Hoke. So these guys have been around for a long time. That's why it's always exciting to watch. Brady Hoke has an 80-73 record. He's 15-13 with San Diego, and Todd Graham is 97-62. Both of these guys having spent some time in the majors as well with the big programs. A win for UH would give a 3-1 start to the Mountain West season for the second time in 3 years. So that is huge, right? It's crazy because it's like the Mountain West season starts, and you know, it's like, okay, well, let's throw out the non-conference, but This year we didn't have that, right? We didn't have that chance. There was no non-conference. Like, we jump into this conference and we're going right at it with teams that know us, teams that have seen us before, teams that aren't going to be intimidated. And to be 2-1 at this point is awesome. But this is going to be a difficult game. That's even with San Diego State losing against San Jose last week, it's because San Jose is really, really good. And of UH's 5 remaining Mountain West opponents, they have a combined record of 10-4. And that includes San Jose, who is 3-0, Nevada, who is 3-0, and Boise, who is 2-1. So yeah, gonna have some. It gets real. The schedule does get real. So 2-1 is great right here. Look, when we first look at this schedule, I was like, San Diego, yeah, that'll be a toss-up. Boise, maybe we get chance. It's at home. Nevada, we beat them 54-3 last year. But things have changed. Now that the season has started, teams look way different, right? Teams don't just look, teams aren't just laying down. I mean, even the MAC or the Sun Belt has, like, this is weird. I'm jumping from the Mountain West to the Sun Belt, but just showing you that in this weird year, the Sun Belt has 2 teams in the top 25, which is crazy. And the Mountain West has 0 right now, actually, because Boise, who's usually the ones who give us life in the top 25, they dropped a really terrible loss to BYU, where BYU just destroyed them. So that threw them out. But maybe one of these teams will enter, right? San Jose, it's hard when you don't have non-conference, right? It's hard if you're only playing each other and you're kind of all over the place. So we needed Boise to win that game against BYU, because that's one of the few times that someone in the Mountain West is going to actually play someone else. So the only way to strengthen the conference is to have the teams who have the few teams that do have non-conference games, like Air Force, Boise. They got to win those games. But I don't know how Air Force did, but Boise didn't beat BYU, and that is going to have huge, implications. And at least the teams in the Mountain West getting national notoriety. And BYU is really good, so I'm not saying that Boise. And we beat them last year. So BYU is really good, but we beat them last year. And the last time we played them. So this Kawhi says, get chance. Yep, get good chance. Always get chance. Nolan Chan says, breaking, I read Zach Bowen in the O-line while entering the transfer portal. Really? Zach Bowen entering the transfer portal? Okay, well, that was just reported by Nolan on our channel. Considering are you talking about Zion Bowen? Okay. All right. Well, I get all kind of rumors coming in, but usually substantiated. Anybody who is sharing anything on here usually usually gives some good accurate information. But we're saying Bowen, Zion Bowens. You said Zach Bowen. Is there a Zach Bowen on the team? There's Zion Bowens on the team. But I saw about old lineman entering the transfer portal. Yeah. Liz said, yeah, now if we could only watch the games. Yeah. Last week my dad graciously paid $70 for the pay-per-view, and it was nice because we all could watch it together. And like I said, I never have experienced watching a game on television forever, and let alone a pay-per-view game, which is insane given that you'd have to cough up $70 every week to watch this team. That's just not a sustainable it's just not a sustainable way of doing things at all. It just cannot. You cannot have pay-per-view. It's really ruining the fan base. And okay, well, this Kawhi linebacker Zach Bowers. Okay, so 2 people entering the transfer portal. And we wish them the best. That's hard. That's hard to see, but that's happening a lot. Players are entering transfer portals. This is one of those kind of weird years where it's kind of a wash, right? Where you don't have to really worry about your eligibility being taken away, or you're losing eligibility, because it's kind of a wash of a year where everybody's got a blanket waiver to get another year back next year. So you're going to see more of that. But I'm surprised we haven't seen any more of that from before, because This has just been one of those strange years where I didn't expect even many players to come to campus. So very interesting. Very interesting. Liz said, I don't have cable either. Yeah. And that's hard. I mean, it's very difficult when you are talking about, watching games and building a fan base and having pay-per-view. It's just really difficult. $70 is a lot of money. This is a lot of money for a pay-per-view for a Mountain West team, any Mountain West team. I thought the game was a great game. I'm glad that New Mexico gave us a great game, and it provided for some riveting pay-per-view worthy drama at times. But still, nonetheless, it should be free. Every game should be free. This is it's insane. Thank you for the kudos as well. I didn't go to every game. I couldn't go to the last game, so. And I know there's no fans. Maybe for this year, it's like a wash for me and the other fans as well, right? There's no fans expected at any Mountain West game this year. Maybe if our team goes to a bowl game or something, we'll have fans, or excuse me. Or maybe if the Mountain West game is, I don't know, played at Wyoming or something. Ooh, I don't want to wish that. But if we play Wyoming again and it's the Mountain West Championship and it's Wyoming, maybe we'll have fans. Oh my gosh, can you imagine that, Fuchsia? We go back to Laramie. Oh, I just saw that you Fuchsia did just, looks like she's watching out too. But the thought of going back to Laramie for the Mountain West Championship is an interesting one. But it would afford us a chance to get into a game. I think Boise had fans though too. Like very minimal. Maybe like 1,000, I believe. I'd read on one of their statuses from a Boise superfan, whom I met when I was at the Boise game last year with Fuchsia. That's one thing that we do here. Hawaii sports fans take you to games, come with the superfans, come with me. Usually you'll see Fuchsia. Usually you'll see Kaylee E, or other big Bo fans. And we have fans all over the country, all over the world, really, all over the world. And it's really neat to see everybody come together. Yeah, bowling is good, not Wyoming. Well, if we had to go back to Wyoming, then, if it was for the Mountain West Championship, I would be willing. However, I wouldn't want to play Wyoming, of course, or have to play that team because they're a good team. But to have fans in the stands, that might be the only chance. I think Boise had some. I don't know. I don't know if Utah State is having some fans. I'd imagine Utah State would probably have some fans. Does anybody know? If anybody knows what the Mountain West, other schools, because obviously California schools, Hawaii, do not have fans. But it'd be nice to be able to see everybody. Nolan says, guess the score for this weekend against San Diego State. I say Hawaii will pull it out 35-31. Good guess, 35-31. That would be a solid game. Last year was 14-11, so I don't know if it's going to be a defensive struggle, right? Because our teams, San Diego State has a great defense, so our defense has to match theirs. Really, it's going to be a battle on to see, if Shevin, if he can lead our offense to 35 points against a solid San Diego team, that would be huge, Nolan. That would be huge. Liz says sea level Mobetta. I agree. Sea level is always the best. I had a little bout of altitude sickness myself when we were in Wyoming, and I did the Manitou climb with Fuchsia in Colorado Springs, and my altitude sickness just kind of went up a little bit, an uptick. But it was, it put me in that same position as a player, so I have to fight through the elements into thin air. So Wyoming, yes, I don't want to play there again. And that was a good team. So hopefully we don't have to play there again. I'm sorry for even throwing it out there. But I was just putting out there because of the possibility of fans, right? Because they're Hawaii sports fans. When I see fans in the stands, don't you want to be there? How many of you usually go to games, right? And this year, this is one of those years you're kind of just taking off. So I know there's a lot of you. And of course, it's not the safest to be traveling as either, even though it is kind of safe on airplanes. But yes, let's go back to Manitou, Fuchsia. I know a lot of you, that's just a part of your regimen, like me. Go to travel to every game. Go to, maybe not every game, but at least one road game a year or something that you go to. But I know a lot of you, have to put that aside this year. So I think it's going to be, difficult for a lot of us. We all have to cope with the withdrawals. So I'm here for you guys as well. We got some more score predictions rolling in. Liz says San Diego State 22-21, and that's I can see that as well. I mean, this is a San Diego State team that is really good. This is a San Diego State team that is obviously in contention every year, right? This is a team that we've seen a a lot when they're good, it seems. You rarely see when they're bad. I don't know. I feel like every time we played San Diego State in my entire life, they've been pretty good. I mean, obviously, I already cited the Marshall Falk days, and Marshall Falk, obviously one of the best players of all time as well. But just looking at where San Diego State ranks in FBS, Division I FBS, where there's 135 teams, I believe. They're number 2 in total defense. Number 2, San Diego State. They only give up 233 yards a game. So that's about how much our offense was able to produce at Wyoming. So that's scary, right? Seeing how our offense, when it's not clicking, I mean, nothing is working, right? Maybe you have a drive or two where things will work, but overall, it's hard to get stuff clicking, and we're an offense that needs to click, right? But this is pretty impressive. San Diego State, second. They're 7th in rushing yards per game. They average 265 yards on the ground. They're 7th in the country. They're 4th in passing yards allowed, and we give up about, or we are throwing for about 250 yards a game, so it's good enough for 48th. So, we are going to give them a challenge there, and we're probably going to, I don't know, it's like how we're going to attack this team. Either way, it's going to be hopefully lots of play action. I love when we're running the Wildcat or running the Warrior with Calvin, mixing it up. I think, guys are starting to get in that groove where they're, their stamina is there. So probably going to have to rotate a lot of guys in and out. But the San Diego State team is, this is a team that can wear you down as well. So, especially when they lost last week. And this is not a game that they want to lose. And that's the hardest part. We played Wyoming after they lost, the week after they lost. Now we play Wyoming. Now we play San Diego State a week after their loss. So that is not good because these teams are going to be coming in really, really hot. Aztecs are looking to improve to 3-1 after 4 games for the 3rd consecutive season. So they do this a lot of times, right? In the last 5 times that they've done this, started 3-1, they've gone to a bowl game. So this is another team that's looking like those teams from the past. Like I said, I rarely remember a bad San Diego State team, right? They might be average, but they're always really good. And this year is not going to be different. Yes, and Fuchsia says, let's see more trick plays. I agree with that. I love seeing those double passes last week. I love seeing those double reverses. I think GJ threw in some of those wrinkles that a team, they weren't like perfectly executed, but it was so nice to see them. And I think the confident running, those plays as well. So hopefully bring some of those back. You can run those all the time. Who cares? You can run those every game, I think. I don't think it's something that you have to hide. I think that could be something that's a part of the arsenal every week. But San Diego State, they had a 4-game winning streak that ended to San Jose State last week. And they didn't trail in the first half at all, and they took the lead in the 3rd quarter, but they let it go. So this is something that, obviously is still bothering them this week. They don't want to, lose another one. No way. Especially because they're going to go to Nevada next week. So this is going to be a big game. 1 o'clock locally in California, Carson, California, the home of the Carson Galaxy, Major League Soccer, who is another team, not Los Angeles Football Club, Major League Soccer. But they're playing in Carson at the Galaxy Stadium, and it'll be at 1 p.m., and it'll be 11 in Hawaii, and it'll be a pay-per-view. So, yeah, pay-per-view. San Diego State, though, they have, like they said, a great running back, Greg Bell, so look for him. He's looking to become the first player in Aztec history to start with 3 consecutive 100-yard rushing games. Great. Another guy. It's like Penny. It's like all these guys we've seen in the past. It's like, here we go again. Another great running back. Does Kawhi no stupid penalties? Yes. We had way too many of those. Nolan says, I say Hawaii defense will have 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery. Our offense, I say Cordero with 4 touchdown passes. Nolan is feeling good tonight for sure. So I like that, Nolan. 4 touchdown passes. Shevin, that would be huge given that, but it would also be, you know, a carryover from the last game at New Mexico. Like we said, we started seeing things change, right? We started seeing how, how this offense can look different, how this offense can run a lot of draws and inside runs and also air it out. And, when you give Shevin time, when our line is giving him time, particularly, he can do a lot with the ball in his hand. So that was exciting to see, and that was something that I think a lot of people are looking forward to seeing from Shevin again. So definitely Nolan's one of those people who's anticipating 4 touchdowns. But Shevin did have 4 touchdowns, right? He had 4 touchdowns. He was 33 of 43 for 410 yards, but he had 2 interceptions. So that's one thing that we definitely don't want to see too many turnovers. Especially throwing 2 picks. I believe Shevin has had did he have a turnover against Fresno? He probably had a turnover every game. So I'm not saying that he's Carson Wentz yet, but no. And this wasn't a shot at Eagles people either. But he cannot give up too many more interceptions. Obviously, he cannot give up. Now that was a big part of Cole's issue last year. Cole McDonald, right? He gave up the ball too much. You nullify a lot of the great things that you do by giving the team the ball. And it's more than just giving them the possession of the ball. It's giving them momentum. It's giving them a swing. So that can happen. But clearly, great numbers. Shevin put up 33 of 43, 410 yards. But the San Diego State team doesn't give up many yards in the air, doesn't give up many yards on the ground. So I know the coaches are definitely studying that San Jose tape, probably figuring out what San Jose did to stymie San Diego State. But clearly this was a San Jose State team that knows, they know who they are in terms of. There you go. A Mountain West team that's looking for look at this 4th and 1, this huge stuff that San Jose had. I mean, that was a major. I mean, San Jose has some guys on that D line, and we're not going to talk about San Jose until we get to them more. But the San Jose team was good. So watch them play San Diego. The way they played them last week was really impressive. But you see San Jose running a bunch of stuff on the ground with their quarterback as well, running run pass option. A lot of Mountain West teams starting to look very similar in their scheming, starting to look, a lot like each other, but even more dangerous as teams are running and teams have quarterbacks that can run. And this San Jose quarterback can run himself and throw off of 1 foot. Wow. Okay, that was impressive. Okay, that was really impressive, that play just now. But San Jose is going to be one of those teams that will definitely surprise. Nolan asks, do you feel Cole regrets leaving rather than staying? I thought about that for Cole McDonald, but congrats to Cole McDonald, who's now playing in the Spring League, which is a newer league that's popping up in sorry, I don't know that much about the Spring League, but I know Cole just signed with them. But I think Cole knew that he and I think it's good that the XFL. First of all, the XFL is also going to have a go, so I think that he'll have a really good chance with the XFL, which is great because I think XFL is going to start feeding players into the NFL, which they already have. There are XFL players on rosters right now because of what they did in the very shortened XFL season. Even though it's always good for half football, but any time of year. And spring football, I think, is going to be really tough. But any more opportunities for these men to be able to show themselves. I'm super impressed with the San Jose State quarterback, by the way. If you watch these highlights at the same time, Cole McDonald is going to be in tough water. But he regret leaving? I don't think he regrets leaving. Cole Brennan said he didn't regret staying. And I think you make one choice, and you have to do what you got to do. Sean said Cole had to go. Might have lost his job if he stayed. Ooh, yeah, that's true too. Cole McDonald was up and down, but for one thing, he was unquestionably had the look of an NFL quarterback, to a T. So you see that guy, I can see just physically him and just how imposing he is, really giving off that vibe like NFL quarterback. But the Titans, didn't hold on for him for that long, which really kind of makes me nervous. They probably saw something in him that they couldn't change, or mechanically. We're talking mechanics, but it's probably more than that. And we wish Cole obviously the best, and I still believe he'll make it in the NFL, and he'll eventually find his way to the league. But it's going to be a little bit of a road. So I don't necessarily think Hawaii alone would have been the best place for him, staying around for 1 year. But it would have been cool to see him in Coach Graham's offense, that's for sure. Sean says San Jose is legit. Yeah, this San Jose team is really good. I mean, the way that they play defense particularly is really impressive, and that's scary because we still have to play them. We didn't play them yet. But San Diego, on the other hand, will not be happy after this game, and will definitely be looking to bounce back. So that's something that we all have to be aware of. San Diego State. Some interesting stats about San Diego State. Most consecutive games holding opponent to less than 300 yards total offense. San Diego State, 4 games. And they're tied with Marshall in the country. So 4 consecutive games holding opponent to less than 300 yards. So we've already been held under 300 yards once. I was in Wyoming. That's hard to win when you can't move the ball, when you can't keep time of possession, and San Diego's good at that. San Diego State's great at holding the ball, and having a large time of advantage possession. So UH is going to have to be efficient with the ball as well. But they're number one in the country along with Marshall. So that's crazy for SDSU. And I'm talking about like nationally. Another crazy stat, which is interesting from San Diego State. Their combined football and men's basketball winning percentage since 2010, they are second in the country, which is kind of cool though. Since 2010, obviously you think Kawhi Leonard was there, all the great players that played at San Diego State, those runs they had, like that run they had to the Elite Eight, that time they lost to Florida. What was that team? The Florida team, the Florida Panhandle team, or what? The team that was dunking and stuff, they lost to them. That was like 2013. So San Diego State, pretty cool. They're second in the nation for combined football and men's basketball winning percentage. A little bit, that's just cool. So 732 win percentage. Number one. Who do you think number one is? Who would you say number one is? I'll let some people guess. Number one in America since 2010, combined football and men's basketball winning percentage. Who do you think is number one? San Diego State is number 2 in the country. Who would you say is number 1? Number 3 is Oregon. Number 4 is Michigan State. Number 5 is Wisconsin. Number 6 is Duke. And number 7 is Cincinnati. That's an interesting one. Cincinnati, okay. And obviously their men's basketball team. But their football team, yeah, I guess they've been pretty high. So, that's a pretty amazing to see San Diego State and the number 1 team. I don't know if anybody's going to guess, so I'm just going to say it's the Ohio State. Yes, we should have known. Ohio State. So they have a 752 win percentage, combined football and men's basketball. San Diego State, 732 win percentage. That's pretty good. So, yeah, Brandon said to Ohio State, so Brandon got it. Good job, Brandon. I wish I had a prize for you, but next time. I promise. So, good job. Ohio State, yeah. And that would make sense, right? A great team, obviously, on the football field, on the basketball court. Won't be playing this week because of COVID. The Ohio State. No. Ohio State is fine, Brandon. We don't need to give them the D. I don't know why I do that. It's just they brand it so well that you kind of have to say the Ohio State, right? I did talk about Marshall Faulk, right? So SDSU, their most rushing yards through 3 games. So through 3 games, Marshall Faulk, number 1 in 1992. He had through 3 games, 637 yards. Doug, wow. In 1992, he had 637 yards in 3 games. How is that possible? But somehow he did that. But then again, Donnell Pumphrey, another guy that we don't miss seeing for San Diego State, he had 599 yards through 3 games and 750 through 4 games. Marshall Faulk had 837 yards through 4 games in 1992. He averaged almost 210 yards a game for a 4-game stretch in 1992. That is insane. Wow. Anyways, Rashad Penny, who we talked about as well, he's number 3. In 2017, he had a 3-game stretch where he had 588 yards, and a 4-game stretch where he had 716 yards, so almost 200 yards a game then. So Marshall Faulk averaging over 200 yards for 4 games is just insane, 210 yards. But this Greg Bell guy who they got, 2020, he's number 8 on this list through 3 games, so 377 yards through 3 games. So already about 125 yards, almost 126 yards per game through 3 games. So you can bet he's going to get the ball a lot. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. So that's somebody to definitely watch out for. That's Greg Bell for San Diego State. San Diego State is going to be playing at a place that they haven't played at in any time in their previous, their history, playing in Carson, but it'll still be a home game for them in so many ways. It'll be California. It'll be, in confines that are, in conditions that are similar to what they practice in all the time. I wonder if they're practicing in San Diego. I'm sure they're practicing in San Diego, but going all the way to Carson to play. Last year, San Diego was 10-3. And it culminated with a 48-11 win over Central Michigan in the New Mexico Bowl. And last year they had their first ever victory over UCLA. They had a win over BYU, the first since 2005. And they were 6-1 in road/neutral games. And they spent 3 weeks in the top 25 last season, ending at number 31. I wonder where we were last year in the final AP poll. Who knows where Hawaii football was last year in the final poll? So San Diego State was number 31 in the final poll, and they returned 16 starters. 16 starters, so that's a lot of players. 7 on offense, 8 on defense, and 1 kicker with 9 players. You're welcome, Liz. She says, "The Run, thanks for everything." Mahalo, Liz. 9 Aztec players on the defensive side of the ball have made at least 9 career starts. So this is going to be crazy. Plus, they have a senior who has had 42 career starts every game since arriving as a true freshman. I think that's pretty hardcore right there. So this is not going to be an easy game. San Diego State, one of the best teams, not just in the Mountain West this year, but one of the better teams since 2015. Actually, the 11th best FBS record since 2015 in the country. Number 1 is Clemson. And you got Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Appalachian State, App State at number 5, Georgia, Boise State at number 7, Wisconsin 8, number 9 Notre Dame, 10 LSU, and 11 San Diego State. And that's for the best record since 2015. So San Diego State's always just been one of those good schools, right? And when you look in California, though, since 2015, just in California alone, and think about all the schools, the Power 5 schools that are in California, San Diego State is number 1, actually. 51-19 since 2015. They have a 729 win percentage. Number 2 is Stanford, 44-23. Obviously, Stanford, USC, who is number 3, they play a different schedule. A more difficult schedule than San Diego State does. That's obvious. But, San Diego State is one of the teams that is going to get California talent. Good California talent. Good talent from around. They've already got some good players. They have one of our players' brothers there. They just got the Liberty running back who was looking at Hawaii as well, the Liberty in Las Vegas. So this is one of those teams that's going to be competing with a lot of our recruits. It's going to be one of those teams that is going to obviously do well in Southern California where we need to do well. But under Coach Graham, now we're going to start spreading our wings out a little bit too and going out and getting players in Texas and places like that. Nolan says, we need Bussey, Calvin, and Smart to have a lot of touches to win this game. Yeah, I agree. I think we need to distribute the ball. Let guys touch the ball. Day-Day, I think, getting that ball on the end around our score in the Wyoming game, those are the kind of plays we want to utilize his speed on. And obviously, when you have our O-line blocking the way they do and doing well, it's easy to run things. But you can't have stupid penalties. Like Liz said earlier, no stupid penalties. So definitely something that they cannot afford are these stupid penalties, especially against SDSU. They are 15-4 against us, 15-4. So 19 times we played them since 1990. They've won 15, but we won the last 2. We won the last 2, and I was there for both of them too. It was pretty cool. The late rally came up short after a missed field goal last year, and that's the way they're calling it. But I think UH last year was a team of destiny, and it was just meant to be to have that season last year, to go 10-5, to beat the Aztecs in the Mountain West West Division title game, to see Coach Rolovich have win Coach of the Year, to have some of our players recognized. It was a great year last year. It was a team of destiny. And a lot of those players last year are back this year, and a lot of those players from San Diego State are back this year again. And there are new coaches, and there are new schemes, so everything is new. But everything will, be thrown out once the teams get on the floor. This is a team these are teams that have played 35 times, and you can expect that this is going to be another hard-fought game. So very excited for that. Very excited for all of you. Mahalo to all of you who have joined us. Like I said, this is a great Veterans Day episode, and I dedicate this episode to this veteran, my grandfather. 88 years young, Hawaii fan, got me into Hawaii football, sitting in Section D. I'm now in B, so you guys see me in the front row in B with my crew. I used to be in D with him and my grandmother, sitting on their laps and making confetti and ripping paper and trying toilet paper and all kind. But it's very inspiring. This morning. He did a 1.15 miles, and he didn't want to do a mile at first, and then he pushed himself. Then he did more than a mile. Then he's like, "Wait, did we do a mile and a half?" I was like, "Whoa, calm down. Maybe next time." But 1.15 miles, amazing. 88 years young, and still going strong. So send out a special mahalo to all of our veterans, and especially those that inspire us today as well. And my grandfather is one of those that definitely inspires me to be the best UH fan that I can be, and to continue to just live my dreams. And he encourages me to do all those things as well. So I'm grateful for that. And that's another show for you all. Saturday, San Diego State is going to be a tough one. The fourth game. Can the Warriors go 3-1? Can we stop a devastatingly powerful San Diego State team who is also 2-1? Can we do that? And mahalo, Nolan. Mahalo all for joining us. Happy Veterans Day. Stay healthy. Be strong. Take care. Aloha. Oh, also, I have to drop. Okay, before I say aloha, I have to drop. This is Holomua Tattoo. This is my brother's tattoo shop. It's in Waikiki on Anna Road. So this is just a shout out to my brother. Okay. All right, guys. Take care. Aloha.